Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andressa.
So in today's episode, ladies, we have Joette Trinh. She's from Connecticut. She's an attorney, real estate attorney, and she started her portfolio from nothing many years ago. And her interview is so inspiring, which you're just going to so appreciate. What I think you're going to find really helpful on this episode is she goes through her process of cold calling, and cold calling specifically the niche of executors dealing with, probate in the probate kind of niche. And it's just awesome how she lays everything out. She talks about what she says, what she says on the phone as soon as she gets on the phone with these folks. And also she goes through her criteria. She's listening for 4 pieces of criteria and to assess what her next steps are. So I just thought she just pretty much laid out, if you want to cold call, this is what you do, especially in that niche.
Absolutely. And one thing that I want to highlight, this is an episode for you guys that are either stuck or don't feel motivated. She is your girl. Her mother came from Vietnam with $3.50 on her pocket and was able to build her life here, and she did the same. Right now, she owns a portfolio with more than 40 units, being a real estate attorney, mother of 3, has her husband, has it all, and still she did 105 cold callings in order to get one deal. So her mentality, no excuse mentality, it's what every single one of us need to really move forward and reach your goals. So if you're really stuck on something, this is that episode for you. Enjoy.
Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andressa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show, where we are on a very important mission to serve women and empower them in living a financially free and balanced life. So it's not always the easiest thing to do, right, in terms of balance, especially the day we're recording this amazing podcast. The 3 of our worlds are a little upside down, but we're making it work because that's what we do as women and as investors and as women who want more in life, right? So we'll probably get into all that. Joette, thank you so much for being on our show. Just so excited to have you on to share your story. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're going to jump into her story in a moment, which is so fascinating. I'm biased, but I love all the women we interview on our show. But reading your bio and hearing your background is just really, really inspiring. So we'll jump into that in a moment. Andressa, as we like to do every week with our amazing, amazing women who watch our show and listen to our show and watch it on YouTube. We'd like to kind of connect with all of you, kind of share what's up with us, something, a tool, a trick, a learning and aha, and then we jump into our interview with an amazing lady. So what's coming up for you, Andressa?
I'm going to talk about the power of a community. We have built the Real Estate Investor Community Facebook group throughout the years. We have more than 4,000 members there now. It's a very strong community. You have people that are fresh, green, and you have also really rock stars with years and years of experience there. And as our friend Patricia Red Hawk always say, you're always a rookie at some point in real estate, right? So it doesn't really matter where you're at. If you're not growing, it means that you're really stuck in learning something new. You're not going through challenges. So this past week, I'm looking to buy a primary house, and I've bought primary houses before, but I've never done a construction loan on a primary house. I always paid out of pocket. I was like, I'm gonna explore that possibility right now. And I got denied with the first lender that I talked to, and I was like, nah. I was not upset about being denied because sometimes it's just a matter of criteria. But I was disappointed the way that the communication happened. And also, you look back and you take responsibility, like, well, what is off over here? And I immediately thought, okay, let me share with the community and see what comes out of that. And I cannot tell how many people just jump in and say, you're talking to the wrong person. Talk to this person, talk to that person. And it opened up a completely new world behind me. And to be honest with you, many times I think, okay, that woman that is trying to go to something new, and then she gets rejected or a no, and then that's shut down. If she doesn't have that community behind her, it's kind of really challenged to get out of that. I have a child over here. Yes.
No, I love that. I love that, Angessa, because, two things. We like, Joette, I'm sure you've seen this in your journey. You get to a certain point and you do something really well, and then you're pivoting, you're getting into something new, and it's like you're learning again. You're like, hold on, I've been in this business a while, just like you, Angessa. You've bought and closed deals all the time.
Yeah.
But then for that to happen, and then you're like, okay, I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm going to reach out and get support. And then what have you been taught? How many lenders have you talked to since that post?
15.
15, right?
Yes.
And where are you at? I mean, making progress?
Absolutely. And I was like, well, there's more than like one option here. Yeah. And sometimes that the lender that I'm talking to, it's not, the appetite is not that residential, or they have a different threshold, which I learned with COVID, the terms really changed and their appetite really changed. But it was a great opportunity to make connections for other things.
Yeah,
also.
That's great.
And to really understand that, you might be talking to the wrong person or the wrong department within the same bank.
Yeah.
But what I want to emphasize is really the power of having a community that has my back and really like, okay, here are my referrals, and then you go. You go here, you go there. It might work this way or it might not work right now, but I felt really supported to the sense that I don't need to resolve by myself. So if you listen to it and you're stuck at something, or you feel that you don't have the support of your spouse or family, whatever that situation is, highly recommend you to join our Facebook community. It's a free place for you to really get not just knowledge, but the support from other women that will push you forward with so much kindness. And, I'm very grateful for all the women that has helped out. It opened up a completely new world for me.
That's awesome. And that's a great testament to not allowing yourself to get stopped, right? And to use that community. So that's awesome. So without further ado, Joette, thank you again so much for being on our show, especially with all the obstacles that were thrown your way, which I know we're going to get into because of what you've accomplished for yourself. I'm sure that was this situation small compared to probably a lot of other things you've dealt with over the years. So share with the women listening a little bit about what propelled you to get involved in real estate investing.
Well, I had a very unique start, and if you can see from the background, it's been a little bit challenging today. I'm doing this podcast from my car because I don't have any power at my house, and my mother-in-law is watching my 3 kids who are 5 and under so that I could do this, and my neighbors graciously letting me use their internet. But I had a very unique start in the business. My senior year of college, which was in 2006, so I'm kind of aging myself here. She took me to a one-day seminar where, they have the gurus where they try to sell you those packages that are worth thousands and thousands of dollars. And I didn't have the money, but I was really interested in real estate. So I ended up calling the guru consistently and persistently for about 6 months and just saying, I want to work for you. I want to work for you. I want to work for you. I want to learn about real estate. I don't have any money. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. So after about 6 months of me bugging him and him kind of getting the idea that I wasn't going to not stop calling him, he finally gave me a shot. I ended up working for him for 4 years. I did sales, I worked on his call center, and I did cold calling. But the most important year was the year that I spent on the road, where I was his logistics manager for his real estate investing courses. So his company had courses on residential investing, commercial real estate, mobile home parks, creative financing, like seller financing. And I ran all of those courses, the logistics. So the instructor would fly in and I'd set up the courses for them. I'd get their coffee. I'd make sure their presentations ran well. But in return, I got to sit in the back of the room, not pay, and learn all the information.
Oh, I love that.
So cool. I always say, like, you got to find a way. And based on what you're telling me right now, you have the mentality since forever. Like, you are in the car right now. You ask for help for your in-laws to take care of your kids. You're using the internet from your neighbor. You could easily have called us this morning and have said, hey, I have too much on my plate. I don't have power. And I don't think I want to go in my car and record this, or go to my neighbor and ask for his internet. Or you could have done all of this, but you have not done that. And you could have done the same thing years ago when you went to this guru and say, I don't have the money. Or when he said to you no for the first time, you said, I'm embarrassed, or I'm not going to ask him 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 times. So my question to you is, how or where is this coming from? This perseverance. You have a very thick skin and you figure things out. So I'm very curious to understand how you got that, because a lot of people give up right away. And you have something that what I'm looking to get here is that, let's see if we can transfer like to other people. How did you get that? And what is your interpretation when you hear a no?
So where did it come from? I think it came from the fact that I had a very hard life growing up. My mother is from Vietnam. She came over during the Vietnam War. She came with $3.50 in her pocket, and she still has that same $3.50 in her pocket today. Mm-hmm. So she literally built herself up from nothing. And just watching that growing up was huge. My father exited stage right at age 5. And so it was just my mom and I for a very long time. And we were very poor. I was one of those angel tree kids. I don't know if you know what that is, but that's like at Christmas time when there are children in the community whose families don't have enough funds for them to have gifts. They hang an ornament on the Christmas tree and it has what your wishes are. And then a family that's more fortunate than you picks the ornament off the tree, and then they go to Walmart or wherever, Target, and buy what's on the list. So I was one of those angel tree kids. We were poor. We didn't have a ton of food. And my mom always chose to live in a better neighborhood than to have food on the table. So she went without. She would come home and tell me that she had had dinner at work, but she really hadn't. That food at home was for me. But we always lived in a safe neighborhood, and I always had access to good schools. So I think just watching that, and my mom is such a fighter, I think that's where it came from.
Well, that's really, really moving. That's making me moved here. So you go through this experience with all the gurus, you're learning all this information. So what was the next step when you got your first real estate investment under your belt?
Well, there's a little bit of a delay because I worked for the guru during 2008, 2009 when the Great Recession happened. And I saw a lot of the investors who had been paying the guru's company thousands and thousands of dollars to take the courses. They lost their shirts in the real estate market. And I thought, I know that real estate is my path, but I never want to encounter a situation like these other investors where this happens to me or anyone I love. So I decided to go to law school and become a real estate attorney specifically. So I go to law school, and the first year of law school, I'm full-time. You're not allowed to have a job. So I thought, well, how can I take the information that I've learned these past 4 years of the guru's company and leverage it? And I was living off of student loans at the time because, like I said, I didn't have a job. So I started, and my husband, who at the time was my boyfriend, we started individually flipping mobile homes. And so we would buy them, fix them, and then we'd sell them for cash or we'd hold the note. And it was really great income for a law school student who didn't have a job. But literally, I was going to law school during the week, and then on the weekends, my boyfriend, now husband, and I would drive 100 miles north to upstate New York, and I'd pack egg sandwiches and ham and cheese sandwiches, and I'd scrub toilets, and he'd do the demo, and then we'd come back, and I'd go back to school, and then the next weekend we'd do it again. So that's how we started. It was a very humble beginning because I didn't have a ton of money.
Wow, that's really inspiring, So the mobile home flipping, why mobile home flipping? Why did you get into mobile homes?
Because it's what I could afford.
low entry barrier. Yeah. In terms of just getting into that. Yep.
Yeah. One of the seminars that the Guru's company taught was how to do mobile home park investing, but also mobile home flipping. And so it was a low barrier to entry. It was anywhere between $500 to $5,000 to buy a home, which I had because I was using the money that I had from my student loans. I was on scholarship, but then all the money I had from the student loans, I was using that money to buy mobile homes. And then I negotiated with the mobile home park owner to give me free 2 months worth of lot rent while I rehabbed the home. And oftentimes we could buy it, fix it up, and put it back on the market before the 2 months was up.
I think what you're saying is making me think about a few different things. And I want the women listening to hear this. So often we want to say like, there is this master strategic market analysis plan, right? When certain people start, right? And people have asked me, why did you choose Trenton, New Jersey? And why did you choose that? I'm like, it was the cheapest we could afford to get involved in real estate investing. Did I do all my market analysis? No, not like I do now. It's such a different, like you evolve, right? So right. I'm saying that for a few different reasons. I think people get involved in real estate investing at different points of their lives, at different socioeconomic points of their lives, so to speak. And there are people who get in and are all about the market analysis from the beginning, and that's their path. I think, and that's obviously the most preferred path. Of course, I'm not going to say on a real estate investing podcast, no, ignore the market and just do what you can afford. What I am saying, though, is what you're saying, and what I think our path was very similar in a lot of ways, was that you have to do sometimes what the easiest entry to the barrier is, so to speak. And that just gets your foot in the door so that you can pivot into other things. I think sometimes as women, right, we want this to be perfect, the perfect market, the perfect deal, the perfect fill in the blank. And I just don't, at least my own path, I could speak personally, that didn't happen for us. Now, we learned a lot through that experience. We still have properties in Trenton, New Jersey. We still have a holding there. And, were there certain things I would have done differently? Maybe, but it took me to where we are today, right? So I guess my point is, let's not wait to the perfect fill in the blank. And if you see an opportunity, like I can get into this with 3 steps versus 25 steps, then do that. So then that gets your momentum going. I just want to make a point on that because I think too many times we wait for the perfect, and I just don't know if that always happens for everyone.
Right. I did what was in front of me and what I could handle at that point. And that's really how I got started.
It's awesome.
Sometimes I hear and I see different posts about like, I'm starting in real estate. I need a name. I need a business card. But I really stuck on my logo and So and I love what you're saying because it was in front of you and you made the best of what was in front of you. And I think that that's what people got to do depending on where they are in their life. That being said, I think that, each person needs to see where am I right now? What can I do in order to move forward? My goal, it is to have rental income, but what can I do right now in order to get closer to that? And it's really a no excuse mentality in order to move forward, that it will take more than what you think to get there. So based on your beginning, and you have done tons of transactions in your career, what have you learned during those transactions that has helped you, like more mistakes that people made when they were closing on a deal, like golden nuggets that you can share with our audience?
Well, I would say first, if you're in an attorney state, have a good attorney, because a lot of times I find that for my legal clients, the language in the contracts can make or break a deal or make a significant impact. I think the language is very important. And also I think, so that's the first step, is to have a good team, someone that can help you through. If you're an investor, make sure that you have someone on your team who's helping you run your numbers and being conservative about it, so that if there is some type of unexpected, rehab cost that comes up, that you're prepared for that, so that it doesn't ruin your budget or ruin your profit margin. So definitely on the investor side, make sure you're running your numbers. And if you're not good at that, then have someone who can help you do that. And on the closing side, have a good attorney. I've been a real estate attorney now for 7 years. I've done over 1,500 transactions for my clients. And a lot of times it does come down to the language in the contracts, but also it also is about being flexible. And if something comes up where things don't seem to be going your way, find another way. Be tenacious and don't give up.
Yeah.
I hear all the time that, people are very conscious about engaging with attorneys. And sometimes they only engage when shit is hitting the fan already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of value in getting a contract in place for your general contractor. Prior to it, review. If somebody wants me to use their contract, I have an attorney that reviews that contract. And not just like not reading a contract, not understanding. And I think that those lessons come the hard way, because then when things don't go right, and then we're going to go read the fine lines, and it's a matter of like one word to change everything else. So
absolutely,
I always say, and I learned throughout my career, that having different attorneys for different things is just part of the business. It's like legal fees right there. It doesn't mean that I am in trouble, or no, it means that I'm running my business in a way. Right now, Liz, we have different attorneys for different things. We're like, we can write a contract. No,
Yeah.
Just kidding. But
No, yeah.
You get to the point where it is important to have a team that can support you. So you are a real estate attorney. On your investment side, share with us what's going on in your life and how are you able to manage everything?
So from the mobile homes, we did that a bunch of times, and then we were able to take that income, and also the fact that our friends and our family got to know what we were doing, and they started saying, hey, can we invest with you? So we took that money that we made from the mobile homes, and also those individuals who decided that they wanted to loan money to us, and we rolled that into single family homes, multifamily homes. So now 12 years later, we have a portfolio of 40 rental properties that we hold, everything from, like I said, single family up to like a 12-unit apartment building. And then we're fixing and flipping as well. We've done about 12.5 flips as well during that time. So right now in this market, we're actually having a lot of success with flipping. I know that a lot of people are not because of COVID, but where I am and what we're doing, it's actually working. My husband is a licensed realtor, so some of the deals come from the MLS. I have garnered a reputation in my community as an investor-friendly attorney, so I have a lot of wholesalers who call, and they bring deals too. And then I myself cold call on a lot of probate properties. So there's multiple streams or multiple avenues of deals that we're currently pursuing on top of the portfolio that we currently hold.
So I saw that in your bio too about cold calling, and you're cold calling probate the folks that are
the executors.
Okay, the executors.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about cold calling a little bit, because I think in times like we're in, a deal isn't just going to come on this like beautiful silver platter, and it's just I think people have to get more creative. I know, right? I know, right? I'm just right.
Come my door and say, "Hey, UPS.
Here's your like 12 unit, off market, undervalued."
I thought I could order on Amazon and come to our Prime.
Exactly. I know we all would love that, but what you have to be super creative. And cold calling is interesting, right? In the day, like I feel like I cold called when I started my professional career, and that taught me so much about just like getting through fear and doing it. So, I mean, cold calling for the getting over your fear is worth the energy, let alone getting a deal. So walk us through that a little bit. I mean, we've had other really great women on talking about probate, that strategy and how you can create a win-win, and such an important strategy, because you really can create a win-win if you come from that place. And I'm sure you do as well. So how do you approach that? Like you get a list, just obviously you have a list and you have phone numbers, but tell us a little bit about how you work through that kind of process, because you think everyone cold calls, you think everyone's comfortable with that, but not a lot of people are. And especially if you haven't had sales experience. And I think that's where you sometimes can really find some diamonds in the rough, or whatever that phrase is. So share this a little bit about that if you can.
So I don't actually buy a list, because what we do in Connecticut is different from a lot of other states in that our information is not centralized by county, it's by town. Okay. So you have to go, there's 130 some towns in Connecticut. So if you want to know who those probate transactions is, you have to go per town, not by the county. So it makes it a lot more legwork. So I have an assistant who combs through the public records of each town for me. And then she skip traces it, which means that she's finding the contact information for each person of that probate deal, like usually the executor. And then, so based off of that, I have their phone number and I have their address, and then I call. And yes, it can be scary, and I've been yelled at, but like Andressa said, you develop a thick skin, and you recognize that these people are in a tough time. They've just lost someone in their lives who is very important to them. And I don't call immediately. I wait a month or so before I call. And when I call, the very first thing I say is, "I am so sorry about the loss of your loved one. My condolences," because you really want to have, in this situation, a lot of empathy and for the pain that they're experiencing. But they are also having a problem because a lot of executors, if it's the spouse of the one who passed, maybe the home is too big for them, and they can't afford it anymore because maybe they're on one income rather than two, or maybe it's the child or a relative and they already have their own home, so they don't want to carry the burden of another home, the maintenance and the taxes and insurance and whatnot. So what I'll say is, after I introduce myself, I empathetically say that I'm so sorry and I give my condolences. And I say, "I'm just calling to see if you happen to have any interest in selling this property." And when they say yes, great. If they say no, okay, no problem. Would you mind if I just stayed in touch with you? Can I send you an email every once in a while? And if they give me their email address, then you can put them into an email marketing campaign. If they say no, what I have had is a lot of the older folks in their 70s and 80s, they don't necessarily have the internet. So they'll say, "No, we don't have email." "Okay, well, can I mail you my business card, and feel free to reach out when you're ready?" And I leave it it's not high pressure in the least. It's very open if they say no. If they say yes, then there's the 4 things that I try to garner from the conversation is the condition of the property. Have they had any updates in the last 5 years? The second thing is the timeline. How quickly do they want to sell the property? And if they are in a probate process that can take some time to get the necessary documentation, or if there's been no will and they have to get the judge's approval for the sale, that takes some time too. So we talk about timeline. So first is condition, second is timeline. And then third, we talk about their motivation. Is it because they they can't afford the home, or is it because it's a loved one's home and they don't want to maintain it? So motivation is a third. And then the fourth is the price. What do they think they want for it? What do they think they can get for it? And are they open to an as is, all cash, quick closing, or close as soon as they can accommodate it?
That's great. I love those 4-pronged approach. That's amazing, because it's like, and you're right, so many times when you're cold calling, it's like there's no immediate results, right? So it's like, our customers in a lot of ways are potential investors, people who are going to invest in our projects, what have you. And sometimes they're, interested, but they just need multiple touches, and that's normal. So right. to think like we're going to just, every person you're going to call and then you get defeated by it, just knowing there's a process, knowing that it's like a numbers game, gives you some peace. Whoever you're trying to enroll, I think sometimes that's what cold calling taught me. It's like, okay, this is a numbers game. I got to get to like a certain amount and stay in touch and have a follow up, and sales will be made and things will be made. So that's great. I love that.
Absolutely. On the most recent probate deal, I had to call 105 people.
Okay.
Call them multiple times before I finally got, when I call them and we go through the 4 things and I say, oh, okay, great. Can I come see your property? So I had to call 105 people multiple times to get a showing, to get the deal. But the numbers were fantastic when we finally were able to close.
So the 105, I'm curious to break that down. 105 people, multiple times, like plus 3 times, did you call them? Or touch points, even like a letter, like you said, or an email? Or was that calls?
Yeah.
3?
I would say at least 3 times, and some of them sometimes we were setting multiple showings, because we'd go out to the property and we'd take a look to see if we're interested. And if we were interested, we'd come back with our contractor. And then
right.
once we're back with our contractor, then we're making an offer. So yeah, it was a lot of work. But
how many offers on that 105 did you make?
I think we made 4 offers.
Okay.
Out of 105. And the one that we got accepted, the executrix, it was her brother who had passed away, and he had actually had 3 properties. And so she was the executrix of all 3 properties. And we caught her on the 3rd property when she was just tired and done. And she was like, take this off my hands. So she had originally said that if she put in she had a realtor come through and told her that if she had put maybe $10,000 in the property, she could probably get $270. But she said, I'll sell it to you for $220. And I said, well, I don't know about $220. We ran our numbers. We offered $180. And then she said, that's kind of low. So we met in the middle at $200. So we bought it for $200. It needed $66,000 worth of renovation. So we were at $266. And then we just sold it this past spring for $327,500.
That's great.
Awesome.
It was
that is awesome.
Pretty good spread.
So
and then
I want to highlight here, like what it takes. Sometimes, we try five properties and we get 5 no's. Then we're done with this. Doesn't work. Does not work. This cold calling thing does not work. People were pissed off. Now I am like depressed and I'm stuck and I'm not going to call somebody else to get yelled at. I am the middle of a pandemic, not doing that. So, I've been in door-to-door sales, and at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers. How many doors I did, how many people I spoke with, how many presentations I did, how many closings I did. And it's all numbers. And I think that is a great strategy. You were mentioning 105 times a cup 3 times to get 4 offers there and then a great deal. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of no's. It takes a lot of conversations and saliva that goes in with it. And I really commend you for sharing the quantity. So we're all clear here. If you want to play this game, this is what it takes. This is, from $3.50 when her mother came in to the portfolio that she has right now. Yes, it's hard work and it's smart. So I really want to commend you for that, because we're going to set the record straight that financial freedom, and in this industry, it takes a lot of work behind the scenes, but a lot of people don't know that. When people hear the other person on the other side of the line is stressed out and they're dealing with whatever they're dealing, probate especially, there's a lot of things that they might be, grieving, and also dealing with the house itself. How do you handle their emotions and do not let that affect you? Because I think that one of the main challenges that women face is that we absorb that emotion and then we carry that, and that brings our motivation and our focus a little bit out. So I'm curious, after like 105 people that you talk to, how you didn't let their emotions to hold you back.
I think it's really important to focus on the purpose of why you're calling. For me, real estate can really change lives, and it has changed my life, and it has changed my children's lives going forward. And I think that when you're making those calls, you have to understand that the response that you're getting on the other side, whether it's anger or, why are you calling me, or deep sadness, it's okay to empathize with them. You should. I think that's human nature. And I think as women, we're uniquely situated to do that because we are, I think, more naturally empathetic. But I also think that you need to focus on the fact that what are you doing here? You're calling to help them, help solve their problem. They need to sell the house. They need to get out from under that mortgage, or they need to get out from having to maintain multiple properties. And then for yourself, what's your focus? Why are you doing this? Are you doing this to change your life and change your children's lives? And I think that when you focus on the purpose, you can you can hear their emotions, but then understand that you're coming from a place of help and you can help them. You have that power. So I think, like I said, if you focus on that, then I think that will help you to navigate the strong emotions that you're encountering.
And that's a daily basis, focusing on your purpose. We all could probably, I'll just speak personally, I can certainly do that further. Like, I'll have a laundry list of things to do. We're growing our investor, business and in moving in a lot of different directions. And sometimes, it's not all podcast recordings. It's not all interviews, or it's, things that I naturally gravitate towards. It's stuff that just needs to get done, right? To propel the business forward. And I find sometimes I'm like, I need to always reconnect with that purpose when I'm about to attack something and get into a task that may not be as natural to me, or may not, be the most fun, right? We have to constantly kind of what are we doing this for? I think we all could do that a little bit more and get us a little more pumped about that task, cold calling, whatever it might be in front of you to do, reviewing. I've been reviewing a lot of legal documents lately, and, and that's just something that needs to happen. But what's on the other side of that is growing our team and really propelling us into a really, really bright future. So that's what I kind of keep in mind, and keeps me kind of pumped is a big word. I'd say constantly motivated. Yeah. So yeah, it's that constant. I think we all need to keep that in front of us. I think it's rare to have just it by nature. You have to kind of keep it in front, and that's awesome. Joette, this has been amazing. You're certainly an inspiration to me. I can speak personally. I'm sure Andressa as well. Where can the ladies listening learn more about the amazing things you're up to with all your multiple businesses?
Well, we've just finished rebranding for this show. So our website is www.commongoodrealestate.com.
Ooh, I like that name.
Thank you. And we are on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram under Common Good Real Estate. I will have to say that when you go there, though, you probably won't see any posts and you won't see any likes, because I literally just went on yesterday.
That's awesome.
In time
Good
for
motivation.
Today.
There you go. Good motivation. Awesome.
So like us or what have you, or feel free to reach out. But like I said, there's no likes, there's no posts yet.
Yet.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So all this information you guys can find on our show notes. Now we're going to transition to our fabulous 3 questions. And the first one is, what's the most transformational book you have ever read?
I would have to pick two. The first one is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think it's great for mindset, and especially in this business, which is a people business, it's great to teach you how to relate to others. And then the second one is Girl, Wash Your Face. That one really kicked me in my behind and just got me motivated to say, stop doing all these other things that aren't bringing you to where you are. Wash your face, get up, and start working on what truly matters to you. So those two.
Awesome. The second question is, what's the most powerful routine that you do to create a financially free and balanced life?
I would have to say recently that it's journaling. And I don't just write about what's transpired during my day, but I look at I do a daily analysis of 6 key areas in my life. The first being my career, both as an attorney and in my investment business. Second being my marriage. My third is my family. And then physical, emotional, and mental. And all throughout those 6 areas of my life that I'm analyzing each day as to how I'm feeling in those areas are prayers of faith, because I've got 3 kids, 5 and under. I work full time. I'm building the investment business. Dear God, I need some patience and some help. So it's a lot, but it's a balancing act.
Absolutely. I always say, like, I have so many things going on, but that's how it's been forever for me. And that's part of my life. I don't know what would I do if I didn't have it. You know, those different things. I think that's what I enjoy about what I do in life, that it's very diverse and it brings me a lot of joy. The last question for you is, which woman, famous or not, has inspired you the most?
I think I kind of already hinted at it, but it's
Yes.
mother. She's just, her strength and her tenacity to just persevere in the U.S. when she didn't speak the language and built herself up from nothing is really where I've learned my life lessons. And it's lessons that I hope to convey to my children.
That's amazing. And I'm sure you have conveyed them just by being who you are. I mean, you know, sometimes it's so fascinating because you got these little ones, 3 of them. It's like they're watching mommy take a podcast interview right now in her car, you know, like talk about doing whatever it takes. So thank you so much for being on our show. Thank you for making this work. Love what you're up to, and just can't wait to see your trajectory. You're just doing amazing things. So thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really been an honor.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.